The game you're seeing now is a game called Metaphor Refantazio. Just look how cool this all looks. Also, Metaphor Refantazio may be my least favourite game I have ever had the pleasure of playing. This fact may come as a shock to frequent viewers of the channel. I like RPGs. My favourite game of all time is a game called Persona 3 Reload. Metaphor Refantazio was made by the same company that made my favourite game of all time. This game was also in the running for Game of the Year in 2024. You would think I would love this game. The reviews said I would. Even on sites like Metacritic, the scores on Metaphor Refantazio are higher than Persona 3 Reload. You would think I would love this game. And I tried. I really tried. I've spent over 89 hours on this game. And credit where credit's due, the story was really good. Some of the characters had depth to them. I even liked the combat. With all that said, this is a game I can't finish and can't recommend. I despise this game. This may sound contradictory at first, but I promise this will all make sense. You may think I'm using words like despise for effect, and I probably am, but I seriously cannot think of a better word to describe my experience with this game. For me to explain these unconventional opinions, I need to talk about some very late game stuff. This mainly includes gameplay spoilers, and no story spoilers other than the basic plot. In my opinion, watching this video will be a tutorial of sorts to play the game the right way. I believe you can still enjoy this game after watching this video, but for those of you who don't want to see major late game events, you have been warned. It may seem unfair calling this my least favourite game, so I need to explain myself. I have definitely played worse games in my lifetime. I have played more frustrating games. But this game does something really unique. It takes the cake for being the most disappointing game. Here's a somewhat obnoxious question. What is your least favourite game? The game that came to mind wasn't probably the worst game imaginable. Most likely, it was a game that disappointed you a lot. Hot take, I believe disappointment is the worst emotion to have while playing a game. People like games that are frustrating. People like games that are sad. No one likes a game that is disappointing. As you can hopefully tell, this is a polished game with no game-breaking bugs. You can tell from playing the game that the game clearly had a lot of effort into it. I should not despise this game or be disappointed. I should be happy that I experienced this marvel of a game. I am considering travelling to another universe to tell people how bad this game is. Let me remind you, I have sunk over 89 hours of my time in this game. I just want the ending, but alas, I can only dream. I am just going to spoil the whole video for you. The problem is the last fight. If you have never played this game, or even if you have and beaten it, I need you to truly grasp how unfair this final battle is. How stupid this battle is. To do that, I need to go over the gameplay. And this can get slightly confusing. Before you judge me by my lack of skill, I played this game on normal difficulty. The difficulty experienced by the majority of players. The difficulty intended by the devs. And for reasons I'll get into, I can't even beat the game on story mode. Also, I'm good at the game. So good in fact I found the most OP build imaginable. This build is so overpowered that I faced the final boss at level 60, while he was level 80. This may not sound like a big difference, but trust me, it is. Before I go over this overpowered build I made, I need to give you some lore. So, bad guy does bad things, you kill the bad guy, simple enough. Your party has people. Technically they're not humans, but let's not overcomplicate it. Your party has people. Archetypes are basically these mechs that they can use. Every person has a free unique archetype. Also, you can buy archetypes for each character. You want your warrior stroll to be a brawler type? Go ahead. You want your whole team to be warriors? You can do that too. And credit where credit's due, I really like this freedom, and I like how the game encourages this. Unfortunately, this freedom really screws you over. And you don't realise how much this screws you over until you get to the end of the game. And by that point, it may be too late. Just a small little tip. Level up the default archetypes to max before going on an archetype buying spree. Also, those level up pots are quite valuable, so don't use them willy-nilly. Okay, let me explain why this screws you over. You see, near the end of the game, you can unlock these special archetypes, unique to each character. How do you unlock it? You have to level up seemingly random archetypes to max level. Great game design! Let me remind you, there are no indications on what archetype you should level up in the beginning and mid-game. And let me remind you, leveling up is a grind. Make sure you look up what archetypes you should level up, instead of what you want to level up. But Doc, you don't need these special archetypes to beat the final boss. I agree, you don't. And if that was the only criticism, this video would not get made. Let's talk about part of the reason why this video got made. Emphasis on part. I spent my time in the game very sensibly. I focused on maxing my social links, then getting this crown thing to max, then doing all the dungeons. Sorry to say, if you play like me, you will be underleveled. I fought the last boss at level 60. Let me tell you, this fight is not possible at level 60. I think you need to be at least level 70, maybe even 80. Even then, I believe this boss would be a struggle. Look, it would be unfair to talk about this BS boss without talking about all the BS that led up to it. This is not the first time I faced this boss. I fought this boss from memory probably twice before. The first time I stabbed a spear through his heart, and he got revived by an early boss you beat in the game, because, you know, he wasn't dead. The second fight seemed like the last fight, but no! Before I beat him, the main character got transformed into a monster. That's twice this game pulled this rigmarole on me. Just to let you know, I thought those two boss fights would be the last time I faced the boss. So, you know, I used all my consumables. To save you the headache of when the last boss fight is, it's when he combines with his ship. Yes, you heard that right. You can't make this up. And it's this nonsense that makes me angry. Look, I know why the game does this. By making me feel like the game is just about to end, I spend longer on the game. I actually don't mind this happening as long as it makes sense. Expedition 33 does something like this, but it does it well. You may think this is the reason why I dislike this game. It's not. What really set me over the edge is this final segment. You don't know it yet, but this gets way worse. This is what pushed me over the edge to make this video. In this final segment, you are given options to face mini-bosses or go straight to the final battle. Put yourself in my shoes. You're questioning whether this is really the final battle. You're thinking it's going to revive again. I fought so many mini-bosses up to this point, and you're telling me I have to face more? As you guessed, I skipped the mini-bosses. This was a bad idea, but you only know it was a bad idea later on. Let me spoil the fun. Skipping the mini-bosses makes the final boss impossible to beat. A tip for you devs of Metaphor: don't give the option to skip the mini-bosses if it makes the final boss impossible. With all that out the way, let's get to this final boss battle. You are face to face with the final boss. You see, I'm about level 60. At this point, the boss is level 80, I think. Almost every hit is one shot. But I have a plan. I am severely underleveled. But I found an unbeatable tactic. This is a tactic I have found myself. And this tactic works on every single boss I've played so far. I have 4 turns due to my 4 characters. Simple enough. That is obvious. 1 turn is used to make all attacks go to one of my characters. The next turn is used to deflect all attacks going to that one character. The next turn after that is used for healing. If the boss does an area-wide attack, I can heal in that turn. The final turn is damage. This is a strat I have found myself, and has got me this far. Luckily, this strat works against this boss. Every time this boss finishes the second or third turn, it's my turn immediately. This is because when attacks are repelled, this makes it my turn. I like this feature. Due to my low damage output, I mean, attacking once or twice every 4 turns is not a lot. It did take about an hour to beat this boss. Yes, you heard that right, an hour. But finally, it's all over. I want to ask you a question. Does this look fun to you? Because it certainly wasn't for me. Look, it doesn't matter. It's all over. Finally. What's happening? What's he doing? No! Psych. There's a second phase. Remember those mini-bosses I didn't kill earlier? Well, every mini-boss I didn't kill gives this boss an extra turn. But technically that doesn't matter with my strategy, because it makes it my turn immediately when the boss attacks me. You would not believe this. I ran out of MP. The thing needed to cast skills. I can't deflect anymore. And if one part of the system breaks, it's all over. But there is a workaround. You can drink MP potions. You know how I thought those last 2 boss fights were the last boss fights? Well, I sort of used all my MP potions on those boss fights, so now I have nothing. But not to worry, I can buy more. Wait, why does this shop sell so little MP potions? 50 a pot? That's enough to cast like 1 skill, and using a potion takes up 1 turn. That is not enough. Also, I have no money, and I use all money on these health pots. I can probably get more MP by getting stabbed with this magical spear that I used to stab Luis with. If I knew the MP would be the limiting factor, I would have spent my money on that. Not these health pots. After revisiting this game, I realised not even infinite MP can save me. I'll explain why later on. I have spent so much brain power figuring out the most meta build for myself, and the game just shows me the middle finger. I don't even think that I was that inefficient. The only sin I committed was not facing the mini-bosses in this Tyrant Star segment. This is why I despise Metaphor. I can't even beat this boss with probably the best team and skills. This boss should have died at least twice before, and made me waste all my large MP potions. Potions you can only get at certain times in specific chests in certain events in the game. These potions are rare. Metaphor may look really cool, until you see the same animations over and over and over again. I despise optional mini-boss fights that are actually mandatory, but you only realise that it's mandatory in phase 2 of the boss fight, which, mind you, should not even exist. I despise the game misleading you to when the final boss fight actually is. The gameplay may look good, but it is so uninteresting. It's just me using the same skills on each character for over an hour. The animations are cool though, until you become accustomed to it. This fight I did was so mind-numbing. It was cool figuring out the most meta tactics, but doing them until the boss died is torture. I really wanted to like Metaphor. I really did. I love the story and the unique combat. I can't defend a game that does this. You are forced into playing a certain way. Although the game lets you put any archetype on any character, there's actually one or a few good archetypes for every character. I might as well go all in on the game due to how angry this makes me. What is this soundtrack? This game is made by the same devs that made Persona. Surely you could have done better than this. Some of the social links were very underwhelming. This character arc consists of someone figuring out that stealing is bad. The setting of this game is a fantasy world. At least the characters you play with should be original. Let's see what the minds at Atlas thought of. The partner that follows you around is a fairy. Okay, that's fine. Let's move on to the rest of the party. As you guessed, your party is as diverse as a brick. She has big ears, he has horns. Before you say they're supposed to look like humans due to lore reasons, I would like you to look at this bat. You can't give that reason if this guy exists. Can't we have this level of design for all the characters? Or did that go over the budget? Guys, I have a solution. Next game, instead of developing an impossible phase 2, use that budget on making the characters more unique. I forgot to mention, what is your defining characteristic? That's right, it's nothing. Okay, maybe there is something. He has white hair. As we know, people with white hair are the most overpowered people ever. I know what you all are saying right now. Just grind. Okay, all I have to do is load a previous save. Yep, you heard that right. The game doesn't even let you backtrack if you get to this point. You are soft locked. If you don't save scum, you better hope you made a separate save in the grind area, or else you'd be screwed. Mind you, I did have a save in the grind area, but I ain't wasting a few hours of my life on mind-numbing mini-boss battles. Okay, there is a second option. Put the game on an easier difficulty. Okay, I'll play ball. I did this as well. In fact, I've kind of been misleading you most of the video. The final boss gameplay you've been seeing is on story mode. Story mode makes the boss slightly easier and gives you infinite revives. That's fine and all until phase 2 comes and the boss has like 7 turns and you have nothing that gives you MP. But that's fine. If I run out of MP, I'll just have to die to the boss. So then when I revive myself, I'll have full MP. This is a bad strategy, because when you respawn, it continues where the boss left off. Let me give you a common example. If the boss has 7 turns, and kills your whole party in 3 turns, you revive your whole party, the boss has 4 more turns before you even get a turn in. Great game design! Why didn't I think of that? It's very rare you get 4 turns when you revive, because usually the boss kills someone, maybe even multiple people, right after you revive. Let me remind you, this is story mode. This is made for people who want the story. Great story! I love dying immediately after I respawn. If I'm lucky, the boss will wipe my whole party on his final turn. When I respawn, I get 4 turns. It took me over an hour to beat the first phase on story mode. Imagine how much worse the second phase would be. Also remember that OP tactic that I found out? It doesn't even work on this phase. The boss does some stupid reset magic every time I use it. The auto battle system is good. It would be if it was done right. Every time my party dies, I have to click respawn now. Look at this gameplay. Look how often I click respawn now. This means I can't AFK it. I'm not babysitting this for who knows how long to get the ending. What can I do? Getting the gameplay for this video is bringing back PTSD. Just look how far I made it before I decided that the pain wasn't worth it. Is dying this much canon? This is story mode after all. It might be. I thought after every BS thing this boss did, I can do some BS back. I was wrong. I can't even do that. I refuse to believe that the Metaphor devs oversaw this major flaw in this final segment of their game. You know what? That's fine. I'm not salty. I've spent over 89 hours on this game, plus an extra 3 or 4 for the final boss fight, which I had to die over and over again, redoing my save constantly to find the best tactics. I'm not salty at all. Joseph Anderson said something in a video about rating games. You should split the game into beginning, middle and ending, and rate them separately. The beginning and middle are additive, and the end is multiplicative. I give the beginning of the game an 8, and the middle a 9, and the ending a -1. This game has a rating of -17. The ending absolutely ruined this game for me, and hopefully you can see why. I wanted to max out my social links. I wanted to get this crown thing to max. I wanted to not fight the boss that should have died twice a third time. I wanted to skip the mini bosses. I wanted to have a full squad of max warriors. Is that too much to ask? Please, let me play the game the way I want to play it. You may say that me loading a previous save is not save scumming, but darn it, there should never be a point in any game where you're forced into doing that. I thought humanity has progressed past the point of soft locks. If Atlas just removed the second phase, this boss will actually be good. I'll admit it, I get thrashed by this boss on normal difficulty, and it's a joke that I barely beat the boss in story mode without dying. At least remove the second phase on story mode. The reason I'm so angry is because they were so close. I put up with a lot of BS in my lifetime, but this takes the cake. Metaphor may be a good game. It was initially a game I loved. I trusted this game to reward me for my ingenious tactics. Instead, I got shown the middle finger. I despise this game, not because it's a bad game, just a very bad last few hours. I will probably never watch Stranger Things or One Punch Man. They are shows that I would like to watch, but the issue is, I know they don't end well. Stranger Things is getting clowned on for its unexplained plot events and bad ending, and One Punch Man Season 3 is getting better known as One Frame Man. I mean, if you're in the anime scene, this picture of a character's PNG being dragged down a hill is infamous. The issue isn't whether I will enjoy these shows. The issue is, why would I want to enjoy them if I know I'll get disappointed? Like it or not, endings determine the show's success. This fact is also true for video games. I will probably never play The Last of Us due to Part 2 having mixed reviews. Somebody who wants to play Metaphor Refantazio may be put off by the things I just said. I think that's fine. Hopefully this video reaches the right people, and hopefully they can fix this final boss. But I know that will never happen. This is a small channel. This is not my usual kind of video. I hate talking bad about anything, especially publicly. Somebody spent a good chunk of their time making this game. Who am I to judge? But there are always exceptions to the rule. You could chalk this whole video up to skill issue. Maybe it was. Maybe it's unfair for me to rate this game as 0, even if I like the beginning and middle. But you know what is also unfair? Fighting the same boss for the third goddamn time. I want to finish this game, and I can't. Is that too much to ask? Some people may say to me that I should just spend a few hours grinding. Right now, in my life, I am very busy. I only really have a few hours a day to play games. The rest is spent on university stuff and making these videos. I'm not wasting my day grinding. It may sound weird calling this the worst game I've ever played. Usually when a game is bad, people recognize it as bad and stop playing it. I'm more than 80 hours in, and all I have to show for this time sink is this video. It seems like everyone is praising this game. Are we even playing the same game right now? I know I shouldn't compare this game to Expedition 33, but I am. In that game you can be underleveled and still beat the final boss. You can beat the boss without any grinding. In turn-based games like Metaphor, being hit is a guarantee. And that's fine, as long as the boss doesn't one-shot you or has 7 turns. Also, MP should not be the limiting factor. What is more annoying than an unbeatable boss? A game giving you the freedom to do whatever you want, only for that game to strip it away from you. I want to be viewed as somewhat normal. I think we all have this tendency. I want to like things others like, and hate things others hate. But if we all did that, life would get very boring. Sometimes you gotta love what others hate. Sometimes you gotta hate what others love. Metaphor Refantazio is about a character trying his best to create an ideal world. A world with no racism. A world that is more equal. A world that will unfortunately remain a fantasy.